Because it was a lack of self-love.
Yes. Where did that come from?
Failing too many times. That I started feeling that maybe I am not good enough. Maybe something is wrong with me. Because why does it keep not working out? And I'm now trying to be okay with stuff not working out. And just keep putting effort so that, maybe one day it will.
The lifestyle that you want is yours. You have great energy. You're a great person. Beautiful woman. Why wouldn't it work out?
It didn't work out before.
It just wasn't meant for you. And that's okay. Because what's meant for you is going to feel right.
But it felt almost right.
And the hindsight is 2020. We can talk about this. It's not going to make sense until you have the lifestyle you want. Why it happened the way it did. That's why we have elders. And they give us this wisdom. And we're like, no, they're talking about them old heads. Until we are the old heads and we see what they're talking about. Sometimes you don't know until you just go through that. You have to go through life, And then it all fits together magically. It's like, oh, I get it now. I have experiences like that now. Or I understand some of the relationships that I've had. And it felt almost right. And then when I'm looking from the outside in, I see that it was not. So I can't answer that for you. Only you know you. I don't know if you journal, but I would say journal. It's so freeing because you have to stare that truth in the face and cry it out, face it head on, and then you'll get the messages you're supposed to receive. The next time you journal, I want you to journal about something that's been heavy on your heart.
State of mind that you're in, I'm in right now too. Like, I feel you, understand you. Choosing yourself, choosing peace. I think it comes as a result of self-acceptance. What do you think it comes as a result of? It could come as a result of too much pain that now you're refusing the pain. You want to see the positive, no matter what. That hope is what's going to keep you going.
I agree with what you just said. I think a big part of it is the self-acceptance aspect, right? That makes sense. I would also say what you added on, the pain. And for me, the loss, because I've suffered a lot of loss in my life already. And just choosing that, you know what? Just like I believe we're not here to work 5 days a week and have 2 days off, I believe that we're not here to suffer. If you truly only get one life,
why pain?
Why pain? Exactly.
Because everything is mental. It's all in your head. So if I decide to view it in a different light, in one that just makes me the hero of the story, then I'll be okay.
Yeah, because you're only ever gonna be you in this lifetime. You know what I mean? So,
what type of you do you want to be? You really get to create the you get to be. That's exactly. I like to say, I'm a creator. Who am I? If somebody said, how would you define yourself? I said, I create. I create environment. I create spaces. I create reality. I create
the fucking vibe.
Period.
Okay? And it's the truth. If I create it, why? And I create it for myself, but I also create it for other people. You can make somebody's day by doing the smallest fucking gesture.
Honestly.
and it doesn't take anything from you, literally. Or you can fuck someone's day up by the smallest fucking gesture, driving from flipping somebody off. And now they carry that because not everybody's emotionally intelligent or emotionally aware.
Thank you. So do you see, you get to not only create your reality, you can create someone else's. But that's if they don't know who they are. That's if they cannot understand that they're creators too.
And that was my point of what he was talking about when he said, I'm Puerto Rican. And people assume I know Spanish and I don't, and then the assumption comes after. And he was like, saying that sucks for him and everything else. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, you know who you are. You know that you aren't raised to know Spanish.
And then
you choose not to learn it in this day and age, that's your business. You're worried about somebody who's judging you for 5 seconds that you don't know Spanish, that you're never going to see again.
And it's like you're allowing someone to create your identity. And you accept it upon yourself, and now it takes the form of trauma. And when somebody says the wrong thing, you are triggered. So that person has just created a form of hell for you.
Exactly.
And you accepted it.
Exactly.
It was a choice. You had free will, and you used your free will for the wrong thing. So how do you just detach from that situation? Take your consciousness and realize, okay, you may feel that, but I can tell you what I believe is, and they're going to have to respect that baseline that you set for them. But that is really what's wrong with the school system. The school system is basically so busy teaching you history that it doesn't teach you to think. Because you would think like, oh, math. But what's really math? Let's be real. Math is a language. It's a way of communicating. It does not create a connection between people. But how can I really talk emotions with you in math? That's impossible. If you forget that human connection is the thing that gives you a certain level of peace. It's another step in transcending, in becoming a higher version of yourself.
Right. Yeah, they're essentially teaching you how to be a worker.
Exactly. Not how to think for yourself.
Right.
A lot of people,
which is the point, right? Because then if you know how to think for yourself, why would I be a worker?
And if you think for yourself, right? But you're also able to understand somebody else that thinks for themselves. Because we're not always right. So my ability to understand you allows me to add to you as you're adding to me.
Exactly.
Because you're giving me a different perspective. My mind is expanding. Those neurons are firing. I'm able to see things that I didn't know were possible. Because the way you create your reality is not the way I create mine. So how we can become aligned in our thinking? By being able to understand each other. Because if I cannot understand you, I cannot maybe accept that. Because when you're coming with your perspective, you're not forcing it on me. You're giving me a choice. Do you choose to accept what I have to offer? And I get to say yes or no. And then when I say yes, now we're in alignment. And now we can help build each other up.
The understanding as well as the empathy and the method in which we're receiving each other, because it's not to respond.
Exactly.
We're listening.
To understand.
Exactly. And then you respond.
Exactly.
It's not, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I already had this on my mind and I'm gonna say it now. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
And you respond with a choice. Right? I chose to accept your viewpoint. I chose to reject your viewpoint. But when you're able to understand that I'm doing that I'm actually listening to you, acknowledging what you're saying, giving it some thought before I give my answer, even a no will not offend you. Because you know that that's a decision I made for myself. And as someone that thinks on a higher level, you're able to accept people having free will, because you also have that free will and you get to exercise that.
And free judgment, right?
Free
so going
judgment.
back, bringing it around to the Spanish conversation, as a high level thinker, I know who I am. Why do they have that response to me not being able to understand Spanish? Exactly. What did they go through, or what is their perception of this that causes them to have this reaction? And then you'll be able to better understand their point of view. You don't have to agree with it, but you can understand it. And then when you understand it, you're able to take your emotions out of it. And we can be productive people and go our separate ways.
Exactly.
Which is what we're going to do anyway. Instead of internalizing, oh my God, maybe I'm not a good Puerto Rican. I'm not true Puerto Rican because I don't know how to speak Spanish. That's your business. You know what I mean?
Who cares? Who really cares?
And that's really what it is. Is just being able to take a step back and really analyze a situation, whether it's something nuanced like that with a stranger or between friends.
Removing the ego out of it.
Exactly. Because your ego is there to protect you. I don't need protecting from somebody I don't know who has a judgment about me. You don't even know me. Protect me for what? I'm happy regardless. And that's on period. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just the way I'm moving in life right now. Obviously, it's not like that every day. You know what I mean? When there is no self-care, like I've been traveling for a while, so how I usually take care of me hasn't been happening because I've been on go. And then when things kind of start spiraling, adding up different elements, it's not always going to be possible to be your highest version of yourself. We're all humans at the end of the day. But I do know that more often than not, I am my best self. And give yourself grace. And give other people grace. Because they only know what they know up until this point. So maybe that's the only way that they knew how to react. Because they don't have that self-awareness. But give it 2 months from now, they might have a whole different perspective. But don't hold on to that judgment 2 months ago that they had negatively towards you and just assume that that's that person. We all grow, we all evolve in our way of consciousness, our way of thinking. Allow people grace. You know? I'm not saying it's right when there's a negative reaction to something, but I'm saying remember that we're all having a human experience and we only know what we know up until that moment of time.
Honestly, sometimes it's very difficult because extending grace takes away from the peace. Low key. So now you're bothering me. Why are you bothering me? You get it?
I do understand where you're coming from. For myself, I love people, right?
So now you're at a higher level. Do you see it?
Yeah, I love people, right? I like just being able to offer a nugget. Even okay, you came to me with a negative reaction. And like I said, it's not all the time, it's growth. But more often than not, I'm like, and I just, when possible, drop a little nugget and hope that you take that little nugget of wisdom and expand on it for yourself so that you can limit those types of interactions, right? At the end of the day, we're all fucking connected. And there's a reason that you have the experiences that you have. Sometimes you're meant to be triggered so that you can have a different way of thinking. So, for example, I'm Puerto Rican. I don't know how to speak Spanish. This just triggered me. So what am I going to do about it? Am I going to learn Spanish? Am I not? Am I going to look at why that triggers me? The roots of it? Am I not comfortable or rooted in that identity of being Puerto Rican? You know, it goes all the way into it, right? So when it does become too much, I simply remove myself, right? That situation, we're having that conversation with our friend about how he feels because he doesn't know Spanish and he's Puerto Rican and he was judged. And we're having our conversation about this and he's not able to receive what we're saying. And we're right. We're all saying the same thing. He's the only person that's not receiving our message. At that point, I've given you plenty of grace. I'm going to remove myself. And hopefully down the line you do your own work.
And then after the work is done and you can see a positive change, you're able to come back again into alignment, and it's okay.
Exactly. There's so much negativity, especially right now in the world. It's chaotic. It doesn't hurt to extend some grace when possible and remove yourself when needed. I'd rather be a positive reinforcement in the world than a negative one. It takes a lot of being alone too, because when you're constantly
be able to think about situations.
Right, and going back to what you said earlier, the self-acceptance, knowing yourself, knowing in the past I might have responded to this situation differently, negatively, and how can I respond better? Being able to have discernment with situations. I choose in that moment by myself how I'm going to respond to things that come up later when I'm with people, because sometimes it's hard to move with love in a situation where you're feeling disrespected. But taking that time by yourself, you know what I mean, and really coming to self allows you to move differently when you are with people.
Where you feel disrespected, you still are able to respond well. Is that what you're saying?
That is the goal.
Fuck. So it's being okay with being disrespected? Okay,
no, because there's a way to address people with love, but also you're not going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to speak to people to get your message across. Exactly. When you respond to somebody's disrespect with class and tact, they 9 times out of 10 are going to feel stupid. I came at you with an attitude, you addressed me classily, you got the message across, drops the mic. I have no choice but to think about that interaction now and hopefully have a change of mindset, right? So, like I said, that's the goal.
Understanding when you're being disrespected and being able to call it out in a way that the person does the work to not be like that. Exactly.
Again, going back to extending grace, right? Because depending on what we're talking about, or what it is that is causing that disrespect, you may only know disrespect in certain situations. So how can you respond with anything else? Again, you only know what you know until that point of time where somebody addresses it.
Is this how it feels to be like ahead of your time? Because most people wouldn't fuck with it. They wouldn't be able to understand it. Because the easy emotion is aggression. Like, come on, me disrespectfully, I'm gonna hold you out. We're gonna disrespect each other. We're all gonna suffer.
What I'm saying isn't a new concept. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Like, it's so hard to be the bigger person.
No, it's not.
It's so...
More often than not. That's what I said. More often than not. And I said that is the goal. I believe that we decide. If you decide that it's difficult to be the bigger person, then it is. If you decide it's hard to go to the gym 4 days a week, then it is. It's not always going to be possible because we're human. But that is not me excusing it either.
It's not choosing that same thing over and over again. It's being able to, okay, I messed up, but I'm going to go back and try again.
Exactly.
Because the more positive you are, the better people treat you.
Yeah.
Because that thing inside of them responds to that.
There's a little piece of you that feels seen when somebody just treats you with human decency.
You really figured this shit out?
No. No. I'm living my life journey and getting the messages I'm meant to receive.
Because so many people are miserable. You wouldn't even understand. They're real life miserable.
Real life miserable. I'm not miserable, so I'm not putting out miserable energy.
You bear the fruits of what you are.
Life is beautiful. For me. You know what I mean? For me.
I don't know about you, but I ain't suffering.
I can't pretend like there's not real world events going on outside of me.
Yeah,
I can only speak for me.
The inside of me is okay. The inside of me is somebody that's willing to figure it out. That's willing to accept the challenge and see it as something cool. Cause I'm only gonna do this once. Let's make the best out of it.
And that is why I'm doing this whole traveling around thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I had functional depression. I was tired of my 9 to 5. I was tired of feeling stuck in one place when there's so much I wanted to see and do. My passion is to travel. I had limiting beliefs.
Ooh, come on, sister. Talk to me. Okay.
Oh my goodness. I had limiting beliefs about, because stereotypically, right? When you see that I quit my job and I'm traveling the world, what does that person look like?
They're either tricking. Oh, I was about to say for the black folks. For the black folks, they're either tricking, they're scamming.
The white skin tone?
That's what they're meant to do. They're supposed to show us the way.
And that was my limiting belief. I thought only a certain type of person could do what I wanted to do. And I said, why? This is my life. If that's what I want to do, then I'm going to do that. The issue is people are stuck in their own limiting beliefs. You have functional depression because of something that's happened in your past, or how your life has been gone up until this point, based on your own decisions. I'm fully aware of what mental health is, right? And I'm not saying you can just get up and change your life, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also saying you can get up and change your life.
Because two things can exist in the same place at the same time.
Even if it's just, let me talk to a therapist. Let me take a first step, right? That was me. I want to travel, and I had this remote job. And working through that limiting belief that I didn't even know was there until I sat down with myself and got to the root of where this is coming from. My next limiting belief was, okay, I'm traveling. I would like to document this. It's kind of what I already do, right? But I want to take it professionally. And my next limiting belief was,
would I be good enough to do it?
Right. Influencers, 9 times out of 10, look a certain way. And I was just like, I'm not attractive enough. I don't have the body type, everything. And then that took me down the rabbit hole of, where is that coming from? Oh, when I was X age and this, and this happened, I let other people tell me that I was not beautiful. I let other people dictate how I felt about my gap. Things like that. And once you really can sit with yourself, this came from this, came from this, came from this, and match that up with who you actually are. And that's what I'm doing, is working on my limiting beliefs and finally realizing I can gain the professional skill to be an influencer. I am beautiful regardless of what makeup I do or don't have on. And I can travel
If I want to.
And people are operating in functional depression because their dreams are unmet.
There's no fulfillment.
There's no fulfillment. Of course, whether it's the wrong relationship, the wrong career path, not honoring your child, your inner child. Whatever it is for each individual person, it's something that you haven't met up until this point of your life. And you have the power to decide enough is enough. You know how much better this world would be Do you know how much better this world would be?
If everybody will just take that accountability and decide to finally figure out who they are.
Because
the world wants to force you to be.
Exactly. I believe when you operate from a positive energy and mindset,
you have the clarity to see it.
You have the clarity to see it, and everything will unfold for you. It will work out when you take the first step in believing in yourself. You don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just have to know your desire. And at the end of the day, the worst that you can say was, it didn't happen how I thought.
And look at you. Because even if it didn't work out, you have something to say. You have more experience to maybe try something else, right? And if it works out, you've built that confidence. So you will keep expanding and growing and impacting. So you win in every single instance. You're just meant to win.
I believe everything in life happens for a reason, as cliche as that is. For me, I know it's going to work out. I just feel that in my gut. My soul is like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Hypothetically, if it didn't, I was meant to do it anyway. I learned something, and I did what I wanted to do. How could you ever go wrong from that? How could you ever go wrong from honoring yourself?
You can't. Because yourself is going to thank you for, trying. It'll be grateful.
I don't believe in that word.
Trying?
I don't believe in the word try.
Ooh.
I don't.
Why not?
You do it or you don't. When people tell you, like, I invite you out to dinner, oh girl, yeah, I'm trying to make it. It's always a no. For me personally, I've never had an experience where somebody said they were going to try to do something and it actually went through. Just say you're not going to. Or say that you're going to. I believe try is a cop-out.
So how do you accept when you feel like you failed yourself?
But do you really fail yourself if you're honoring yourself? You might not have went as planned.
It didn't work. I honor myself well enough.
And you accept it by not doing it again. I didn't honor myself well enough in a relationship. I let this person walk all over me, let's say. You accept that by not letting that next relationship be like that previous. Going back, you can only meet yourself as far as you've met yourself. So up until this moment, I allowed myself to have a relationship where I was walked all over because that's all I knew for whatever reason. Now I had the conscious thought to say, why did I ever put up with that? I can't believe I did that to myself. Why beat yourself up for something that you didn't know, that you thought was normal?
But what if you keep repeating that cycle? So now you're like, shit, I'm really the problem. It's like I'm not even able to succeed to the standard I want to, but I'm giving it my best effort.
Said it, the first part of your sentence. Are you really going to get your best effort?
Yeah. If I truly feel I'm going above and beyond, but my everything is still not good enough. How do you fight that feeling? Give an example. You've been studying for a test. Consistent. The whole month you've been putting effort. You're doing the hours of studying people are doing. You've learned your learning style. You are doing the work. And you're showing up as 100% of yourself. And then you go take that test. And you still get a 63. And you're like, but I did the work. Okay, I'll be humble. I'll try again. And you take the test again. Now you get 61. You take the test the third time. You give the same thing. You take it. Now you're at the 10th time that you've taken the test.
you've been giving your best and it still is not what you envision. How do you get past that? Because now you're doing the work, but you're still not honoring yourself to the level you feel like you need to.
So if you knew that you did the work each and every time, and you still keep failing the test, at that point you have to remove yourself out of it and listen to the message. Maybe that's not what you're supposed to be doing. For good or just in this moment. And I gave it my best effort 10 times. It's not me. I'm not meant to be doing this right now or ever. And now that you broke it down that way, I have my own experience. I wanted to do networking events in Tampa and have been talking about it. I had one in January at my house that then upgraded to one in February at an event space. Both times people gave me great feedback. They felt like they took something from that. I said, okay, I'm going to plan a third event this year in July. It's going to be a paid for event because the first one was not. That was all out of pocket. Second one was paid for, but it was not for profit. It was to cater the experience. People paid for food and headshots. I didn't make any profit. The third, I intended to make a profit. The third, I had a turnout. It was not the turnout that I expected. And that was in July. Since then, until this point in December, I'm a go-getter. I'm an entrepreneur at my core. And slowly but surely, I lost that. And I just didn't have the drive. And take messages from that, right? For me, I don't believe that I'm not supposed to be doing networking events. I think that they're great. And I have a curated way of how I do them that nobody's doing right now. However, I don't think that I was meant to be doing it at this point in time. And I also took the lesson of a lot of times in business, it's chess, not checkers. For me, I couldn't go from 2 events to jump and think I'm going to make a huge profit without other work in between. Don't get me wrong, I gave that event and the other 2 my full effort. I know I did it. Everybody who came knew I did it. It just didn't turn out. And now I see the chess moves when it comes to, because at the end of the day, events, you have to have people, period. The people make the event. So the chess moves are, maybe I can't jump straight into this profit-making event. Let me continue to build a solid following, give some few free events, few teasers, whatever that looks like, have a solid following, and then plan for that profit-making event. Don't expect to make money by your third event. And I should know that because I have a mentor. I've been working under my mentor who does his own events for a decade now. He just put on a festival a month ago. He didn't even break even from that. He's been doing events for a decade. Parties, not festivals. How can I not look at that and see it wasn't me? It wasn't that I'm not good enough. There's just lessons to be learned in between. And at the end of the day, I did what I said I wanted to do, regardless of the outcome. I taught myself that my word is bond. So I would really just take yourself out of it and look at it from all angles. What else could this be? And don't put your self-worth in a test.
Don't put your self-worth in something you cannot control.
I can control how my event turned out, from the aesthetics to me printing out brochures to hand to people, to the concept itself, I cannot control who actually comes.
And if I'm living to the word that I give myself, that means technically I'm living to my standard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it's like, this is the concept I'm just learning myself. When you tell yourself, again, the gym example, I'm going to go to the gym today, and you don't, and then you keep doing it, you build up the habit and that pattern of not showing up for yourself. And if there's anybody else in this world you need to show up for, it's yourself. Because you only ever have you.
Exactly.